When were hairbrushes invented? The comb is where the history of the hairbrush begins. Combs have been discovered by archeologists at Paleolithic dig sites throughout the world. They date back to the beginnings of man-made tools. They were originally intended to groom hair and keep it free of parasites like lice and were carved out of bone, wood, and shells. However, as the comb evolved, it became a beautiful hair adornment used to demonstrate riches and status in nations such as China and Egypt. The hairbrush, the comb's cousin, was born from this display of riches. The history of hairbrushes do not have a certain beginning date in their history. The fact that they were all composed of natural materials is the only thing that is known. Wood, brass, and copper were used to make the handles. The bristles might be made of any stiff material. Animal hair, such as that of a wild boar or a horse, was stiff enough to brush. The quills of the porcupine were significantly stiffer. Seashell shards, stones, and bone shards might be sized to unravel a tangle or knot. One hypothesis proposes that the paintbrush, used for millions of years, gradually evolved into a hairbrush. It's unknown when someone chose to drill holes in a handle and add bristles that lasted. Expensive hairstyles, including intricate headdresses and wigs, have demonstrated wealth and social position throughout history, from ancient Egypt to Bourbon France. Hairbrushes were a luxury item reserved for those with the means to buy them since they were primarily used as a styling tool, rather than a grooming tool. Each brush was handcrafted, even as late as the 1880s, and entailed carving or forging a handle from wood or metal, as well as manually sewing each bristle. Therefore, brushes were often purchased and given exclusively on important occasions, such as weddings or christenings, and were loved for a lifetime. But, on the other hand, brush manufacturers had to develop a more mainstream production technique to keep up with demand as brushes grew more popular. William Kent created Kent brushes in Hertfordshire, England, in 1777, and it was the first documented maker of hairbrushes. The brushes were manufactured from wood and bristle, which was most often made from animal hair or feathers, and each brush took up to 12 people to make. As a result, Kent Brushes is still known as the world's oldest hairbrush producer, after 230 years. Modifications to the traditional hairbrush proceeded in the United States after achieving great evolutionary heights in England. Hugh Rock, a designer who patented his decorative brush sets in 1854, and Samuel Fiery, whose patented brushes originate from 1870 and featured natural bristles and elastic wire teeth, both contributed to the development of the hair tool. Each brush was handcrafted, even as late as the 1880s, and entailed carving or forging a handle from wood or metal, as well as manually sewing each bristle. Therefore, brushes were often purchased and given exclusively on important occasions, such as weddings or christenings, and were loved for a lifetime. But, on the other hand, brush manufacturers had to develop a more mainstream production technique to keep up with demand as brushes grew more popular. Who made the first hairbrush? As society progressed and became more civilized, the necessity for a hairbrush shifted from basic grooming to aesthetics. However, it remained popular among the rich. New brides and mothers were frequently gifted hairbrushes. In addition, they were a common present for husbands to offer to their wives. We loved an ornately crafted set that included a hairbrush, comb, and mirror. The need for hairbrushes eventually grew. In 1777, William Kent established the first hairbrush company, Kent Brushes, in the United Kingdom. One hairbrush required up to 12 workers to finish. The bristles were sewn by hand. They are still one of the oldest firms in the United Kingdom. In 1885, another Englishman developed the automated brush boring machine. More brushes might be produced at a quicker pace in this manner. In the same year, Mason Pearson invented a pneumatic rubber cushioned brush. This look is still trendy today. Hairbrush inventors were many in the United States. Hugh Rock was the first to apply for a patent for a hairbrush. He was noted for making exquisite gift sets that included metal-handled brushes, combs, and mirrors. To add to their attractiveness, they typically featured scalloped edges. In 1870, Samuel Fiery received a patent for his elastic wire teeth. To obtain the best of both worlds, he blended them with natural bristles. Lyda Newman presented a patent for synthetic bristles in 1898. She also included removable handles and ventilation chambers. These air chambers, now referred to as vented brushes, are still useful in today's hairblow drying culture. Alfred Fuller distributed the hairbrush door-to-door in 1906. He established the Fuller Brush Company after inventing a better brush. His objective was to create a brush that would last a long time and be inexpensive to everyone. His products evolved to stay up with the modern world as his firm developed. Hairbrushes are now in every home, and they are no longer reserved for the rich. Wooden handles are still used, but plastic handles are lighter and less costly. Today, nylon bristles with and without small balls on end are available. Hairbrushes are available in various sizes, styles, and colors nowadays, with many of them being reasonably priced. They are available for various purposes, including everyday brushing, style, and usage with blow dryers. What did they use before hairbrushes? Portraits, paintings, and sculptures indicate that ancient Romans, Greeks, and Egyptians curled, styled, and braided their hair with care, implying using a hairbrush. Animal hair, porcupine quills, shells, flint, and bones were used in early brushes, and handles were often fashioned of wood, copper, or bronze. Paintbrushes are said to have been used on hair as far back as 2.5 million years ago. Combs, brushes, and mirrors were discovered during Egyptian tomb excavations. Men used combs to care for their hair, according to documents from the Viking Age. In 1777, William Kent started making brushes in England. His handcrafted brushes had domed bristles and were sewn into the brush by hand, known as hand drawing, or long holing. Some of the models required as many as 12 workers to construct. Kent Brushes is one of the UK's oldest brush manufacturers, with over 250 distinct brush types to choose from. Mason Pearson, an English entrepreneur, created an automatic brush boring machine in 1885 to speed up the brush-making process. The pneumatic rubber-cushioned hairbrush was also created by him in the same year. These brushes are now regarded as among the best on the market since they clean the hair, stimulate the scalp by boosting blood flow to the roots, and distribute natural oils down the length of the hair, making it shinier. Hugh Rock patented the first hairbrush in the United States in 1854, having a metal handle with an ornate pattern and scalloped edges. Brushes like this were popular gifts for new brides and newborns, particularly as part of a set with a comb and mirror. In 1870, Samuel Fiery invented a brush with natural bristles and elastic wire teeth. Finally, Lyda Newman invented a brush with a removable handle and ventilation air chambers in 1898. In 1906, Alfred Fuller founded the Fuller Brush Company. He traveled from Nova Scotia to Boston at 18 and began selling brushes for another firm. However, he was dissatisfied with the goods he was selling and the methods he was employing, and he believed he could do better. So he began producing hairbrushes and house-cleaning brushes and selling them door-to-door. His business quickly grew to $1 million enterprise. The Fuller Brushman was a well-known pop culture figure. Walt Disney even portrayed one in an animated film starring Donald Duck. What were old hairbrushes made of? Hairbrushes and combs have been used to manage humanity's hair for ages, and antique hairbrushes are lovely examples of how past artisans turned practical tools into pieces of beauty. Antique hairbrushes, it turns out, were crucial instruments in the process of creating ancient hairstyles. Because hair washes and lathers were not commonly used until the early 20th century, natural fiber brushes could draw oils from the top of the hair follicle to the tip, fortifying and shining the hair. Hairbrushes have developed into a few unique forms since the late 18th century, with many of them continuing in use today. Military hairbrushes. These brushes are designed to fit in the palm of your hand and brush your hair with natural bristles. Brushes with a mix of wire teeth and natural bristles. In 1870, Samuel Fiery filed a patent for a hairbrush with a combination of wire teeth and natural bristles. Lyda Newman improved the synthetic paddle brush in 1898 by adding vented chambers to help clean and remove hair from the bristles. 1. The handle, base and the bristles of antique hairbrushes are usually made of two distinct materials. Brush manufacture evolved from ornate, natural bristle brushed to synthetic, bakelite, or plastic brushes when technical breakthroughs and manufacturing marvels occurred. Hairbrushes were considered a prestige symbol during the Victorian era. As a result, many people commissioned bespoke brushes fashioned of high-end materials. These are some of the most popular materials used to manufacture hairbrushes over the years. 2. Wood. 3. Silver. 4. Ivory. 5. Brass. 6. Bakelite. 7. Plastic. 8. Celluloid. 9. Bristles of an antique hairbrush. Antique hairbrush bristles were made from a range of synthetic and natural materials, in addition to brush frames. Although there are a variety of ancient hairbrushes with various bristles to be discovered, such as these bristles below, boar's hair bristles were historically regarded as the best quality bristles available. Plastic, boar's pig, whalebone, metal strands. Can you use vintage hairbrushes? Antique and vintage hairbrushes, in certain cases, can still be used today, depending on their condition. If you find yourself wishing to brush your long locks with the antique hairbrush you've purchased to recreate every period drama film you've ever watched, first soak the brush in washing soda dissolved in warm water to clean it and soften the bristles for modern use. Is it good to brush your hair 100 times? Brushing your hair too much and too often can weaken the hair shafts. In addition, you risk snatching or breaking your hair if you pull too forcefully, especially if it's damp. On the other hand, soft brushing can stimulate and disperse your scalp's oil throughout your hair, increasing shine. Brushing, on the other hand, offers several advantages for both your scalp and your hair. It promotes healthy hair development by increasing blood flow to the scalp. It transports oil from your scalp to your hair, which is good for it. It removes everyday accumulated dirt from the surroundings as well as hair products. It is beneficial to both the scalp and the hair to remove this accumulation. These three advantages, when combined, give the hair a nice sheen. The trick is to brush your hair frequently enough to reap these benefits, but not so much that it becomes damaged. You don't want to pull on the hair ends too much. To disperse oils, use a continuous brush stroke from the scalp to the ends. However, when it comes to the hair, untangle it rather than attack it. The quality of your brush makes a huge difference. Natural bristles, preferably boar, are healthier for your hair than synthetic fibers. Brush once a day, but gently. Why do hairbrushes have a hole in the handle? Blow drying should be the primary use of these brushes. The perforations in the brushes allow air from the blow dryer to easily flow through the brush and the hair, speeding up the drying process. Following a blow dry, these brushes will improve bounce and curl in your hair and offer a lot of volume for a flawless blowout. What can you do with old hairbrushes? Hairbrushes are a common household item. You can't expect to appear as cute as you should by running your fingers through your hair. Hairbrushes, like hairdryers, are important grooming equipment that everyone should have. Now, if you have extremely long hair, you're probably going to have a lot of hairbrushes. But, unfortunately, your brush collection was not created to live indefinitely. So, if you see them sticking on your hair and giving you discomfort, it's time to get rid of them. Suppose you are a supporter of the environmental movement. In that case, you will almost certainly wish to recycle all of your recyclable garbage. But how do you determine which ones should go to the recycling center and which should be thrown away? How can you get rid of your old hairbrushes, in particular? On the other hand, hairbrushes cannot be recycled because they are comprised of a variety of materials. Plastic hairbrushes, for example, may have a combination of plastic, horsehair, boar bristle, and a range of other materials. Regrettably, recycling facilities seldom recycle products that are made up of several different components. Conclusion. When were hairbrushes invented? Of course, we all know that brushing your hair regularly makes it healthier, shinier, and glossier, but did you realize that this simple everyday item has been there since the beginning of time? Okay, they may have used twigs, pebbles, and shells to untangle their tangled mops. Still, perhaps we should declare Lyda Newman's birthday a national holiday. While she wasn't the first to create the hairbrush, she was given a patent for the first synthetic bristle brush in November 1898. Her brush included long-lasting synthetic bristles, as well as a ventilation chamber and a detachable back that made cleaning a breeze.